everything that I've been through has been life-changing, and I get to share it with you. It will be life-changing. Hey guys, this is Keith Harley, and I would like to welcome you to the 2024 StepUp Podcast. I am so excited. One of the things that I've been working back on this again, probably about 8 months ago, and I thought to myself, oh my God, this is something that I tried during the pandemic, right, back in 2020. And then let me just give you a little bit of a story. So I never intended to do a podcast, if you will. That was never the focus, if you will. But in the midst of the, pandemic, I thought to myself, okay, I've retired from the hair industry after 35 years. And I decided that I was going to relax and I was going to take on a few odd and end consulting gigs and so on and so forth. And then I said, that's not going to work for me. So then I started on TikTok, and after starting on TikTok, I thought to myself, I want to figure out what it is that I want to do. And so as I did that, guys, I thought to myself, maybe I could be a vlogger or a blogger. But when I started doing the research on being a vlogger or a blogger, I realized that there was no one in my age bracket, well, not many people in my age bracket that looked like me, or that were in my, from my time and era, that were doing something like this. And I thought to myself, I'm going to take my lifetime experiences and become an influencer. And I want to show people that everything that you can do, you can make it an experience through food, fashion, travel, motivation, inspiration, and decor. Because these are all of the things that I learned being a trichologist. Now, I know you all are sitting there saying, what is a trichologist, Keith? What does that, what is the definition of a trichologist? Well, the study of a trichologist is someone who studies hair and scalp disorders. I started off as a hairstylist. And I thought to myself, I'm kind of bored with just doing hair, but I want to make a difference in the beauty industry. So I went back to school and I learned the study of hair and scalp disorders. I started working with other dermatologists and other trichologists. And then eventually I took my salon and I turned it into a hair and scalp clinic. And then my business exploded because our focus was hair and scalp disorders rather than just doing hair, but taking care of hair and scalp. And so did that for 35 years in the Washington metropolitan area. I had 2 locations, one in downtown DC, and my last one, which was in Arlington, Virginia, off of Glebe Road. It was amazing. So after 35 years, I thought to myself, okay. I got to do something different. I've had enough. It was no longer fulfilling me. And I had lived the first part of my life, and it was time for me to live the second part of my life. But how I was going to enjoy the second part of my life is take the lessons that I learned from the first part of my life and incorporate that into the second part. Now, the interesting thing, which is I always tell people when I'm speaking and I'm training and I'm showing people how to change their lives, is once you get to the second part of your life, you have to realize that the second part of your life, 9 times out of 10, is shorter than the first part of your life. And that means you have no time to waste. You have no time to waste. You have no time to think about it. You have no time to second guess your decisions. You have no time to continue to repeat the same things over and over again and expect a different result. That's when you go into insanity. So this is why I decided to make the changes I needed to do. Now, let's go back. You're probably saying, well, Keith, what made you decide that you wanted to develop this platform? And we call this platform StepUp. And a lot of people may say, well, what is step up mean? It means that wherever you are, your present situation is not your final destination. Wherever you are in your life, that does not have to be your final destination. If you're unhappy with it, you can, pretty much heal your wounds so that you can move forward with your life with a different perspective. And that is why I decided to create this platform. And let me be clear, nothing at all is based on what I've been taught. That's what I want people to understand. None of this I've been taught. All of this has been through life experiences. Now, not only have I developed this platform with my podcast and my community, the StepUp community, but I also am an author of a book, a best-selling author, mind you. And I'm super excited about that because it took me 4 years to write this book, putting it up, taking it out, writing some more, putting it up, taking it out, writing some more, because I was walking in fear. I was afraid of what people would think once I wrote this book called Step Up, because I'm sharing some pretty personal situations in this book. And I didn't think people, because of my self-esteem and my lack of confidence, I really didn't think people would be interested in reading my book. But unbeknownst to me, everybody has been reading it and everybody has been enjoying it. And what's so interesting to me, I'm still, trying to digest the fact that I am an author. It still hasn't hit me. Even sitting here recording this the launch of my 2024, the relaunch of my 2024 Step Up podcast with Keith Harley, it's just hitting me again that I am an author and that I am a lifestyle influencer, and I'm 55 years old. It's just hitting me again. And I think based on everything that I've been through in my life, it makes me realize, how humble I am and how grateful. And I wouldn't change anything. Now, I'm not saying I accept what has happened to me in my past, but what has happened to me in my past has made me and allowed me to become who I am. And I'm grateful for that. But there's another spectrum to this is I've been holding it in. I've been suppressing all of this stuff for so long that I wish I was able to have shared it a long time ago. But everything in due time. Everything is happening for a certain reason and due time. And I think it is now. It is now that I have to accept the success. It is now that I have to accept the decisions that I've made to become who I am. It is now to act upon what I've dreamed about for so long and turning my dream into my reality. It is now the fact that I am no longer a professional hand clapper for other people. It is about me coming from behind the curtain, creating my reality from my dreams and my aspirations to change lives through my own platform. And now that I feel it, I see it, I'm experiencing it, I'm in the midst of it as I'm sitting here and you're looking at this podcast and you're connecting with me and getting to know me, it is so surreal. One of the things, the lessons that I've learned teaching in my Step Up community is to be aware of what's going on around you. Often, sometimes we don't know how to do that because, we're unhappy with our lives, so we choose not to be in the moment. We just skate through life and not realizing, what's going on. There was a point in my life when I would go to the bathroom and pee, And 10 seconds later, after coming out of the bathroom, I didn't even realize that I had done it because I was not in tune to what was going on in my life, because I conditioned myself to do that. Where does that come from? When you're trying to not acknowledge the pain, when you're trying to not acknowledge what you're going through in your life. So you become numb and you don't know what's going on. And that's pretty much what was going on with me in my career, towards the end of my career before my retirement. You know, one of my friends who was a client of mine, her name is Lisa Johnson. She had been a client of mine for years. And, you know, she was with me during when my mother was extremely ill with cancer. And she kind of coached me through on how to deal with what I was going on, because she had just lost her husband from cancer. And God just put her in my life to really hold my hand through all of this situation. And I always love and respect Lisa Johnson. But what the interesting thing is, guys, she came to the salon one day, and she was in the hair and scalp clinic, and I was doing her hair. And she said to me, "Do you really want to do this anymore? I don't see your excitement, or I don't see you seeking more education. I don't see you getting inspired any longer." And she turned around in the chair and she looked at me and she said, "It might be over. It might be over." And I don't remember the words particularly, what she said, but I'm just kind of giving you a brief synopsis of this moment that me and Lisa Johnson had. And for a moment, because of my insecurities and lack of confidence, I felt insulted, and I felt embarrassed, and I felt like, who are you to say this to me? But then again, what came to my mind later was, why couldn't she be the one to tell me or show me what I wasn't seeing any longer? And at that moment, she was used as a vessel to save me from unhappiness, and save me from depression, and save me from not wanting to be able to lift my head off the pillow to get up and get my day started, and save me from being a people pleaser, because I felt like, if I decided to move on, was I going to be disappointing people? Or would I be embarrassing myself, and what was people going to think? And then most importantly, what was I going to do next, and how I was going to survive, how I was going to make a living? Until one day, after having that conversation with Lisa and losing my mom, December of 2019, I made the decision. And I got up one day and I said, this is it. I've had enough. I'm depleted. I'm drained. I'm depressed. I'm unhappy. I'm in my 50s. And I have not lived. I haven't really. People thought I was living. On the outside, they could see this happy-go-lucky young man. But I really wasn't living to my true potential. And so with that being said, I got up one day and I said, enough is enough. And I got a picture of me taking the sign down. And I said, I'm done. I took the sign down and I said, I'm done. This was in December of 2019. And you know what's interesting? Now that I'm recording this new podcast relaunch, it is December of 2023. How interesting is this? And that I'm embarking on another aspect of my life of fulfilling my dreams, which is this relaunch of this podcast. How interesting is it? So this is also surreal to me as I'm sitting here sharing these moments with you. And the reason why I'm sharing these moments with you is because I want you to see what this podcast is going to be about. I want you to feel my spirit, my heart, and my love of the direction that this podcast, Step Up, is going. I want you to feel what my guests are going to be about. I want you to feel the authenticity of what all of this is about, the organicness of it all, and be excited to be able to relate to me and to others. One of the things as I've started to address my issues from my past is I always thought I was the only one. I always thought I was by myself. I always thought, and then I was afraid to open up because I thought that I would be embarrassed. I thought that I couldn't talk about the abuse because I thought people would be judgmental. I was afraid to show my face sometimes because I was hurting on the inside and so many people didn't know it. I was insecure about my body and my skin and all of these things that I was always playing these mind games with myself. Do this person like me? Do they love me for real? Do they really want me in their lives? And interesting enough, as I was speaking this morning on TikTok, on a morning class that I do with my StepUp community, we were going through the conversation about what other people think about you and how people are like animals. They can sense, they can smell fear. And when they smell fear, that is when they have the capability of keening in onto your fear and treating you like you're less than. And they try to devalue your existence. And what's so very interesting is you begin to believe their actions of them devaluing your existence. And so what you do is you embody that and it becomes a part of your DNA. And then you choose to do so. And so that is giving you all an idea of the direction that we're going in. We're going to address some of the things that we're afraid to address. And we're going to open up and take the Band-Aid off the wound and figure out how we can heal. We're going to have guests that we're going to talk about love and relationships and fashion and food. I love food. I've already asked a couple of my chefs that I'm very close to come on my show, and decor and travel, motivation and inspiration, things that are relatable. I don't want to give you a fairy tale. I want to give you some real life stuff. And I promise you, it will be life-changing because everything that I've been through has been life-changing. And I get to share it with you. So it is my plan that this show will have an episode once a week. It will be released every Tuesday. It is my plan that I will have a lineup of incredible guests for you. It is my plan that this show will go on the road. I don't know if you know, I'm on a book tour and a meet and greet tour around the country. Just this week that I'm recording this podcast, I'm on my way to Houston, Texas, to do a meet and greet with Sienna Sauces, which I'm super excited about. If you don't know about Sienna Sauces, you need to look them up on Amazon and those other stores and things of that nature. But they're a great product company that has great sauces that were developed by this incredible young lady who has a small business that has grown in leaps and bounds, and her mom is incredible. But I get to do a meet and greet with them. We're going to do a meet and greet and a book interview, And then the following day, certain winners that have been chosen have the opportunity to attend a sit-down foodie event where we're going to be cooking together, and we're going to be cooking for everybody, tasting food, and having a lot of fun. So we're going to be doing that, which I'm excited about, which is going to be crazy. So then I'll be going to Washington, D.C. I'll be going to North Carolina. I'll be going to Philadelphia. I'll be going to California. I'll be going to Chicago. And a couple of other cities in this lineup for my meet and greet, my book signing, and so on and so forth. And then in addition to that, which I'm super excited, is we're having our first conference in 2024, which is called the StepUp Conference on the Seas. And guys, I'm super excited because this is how your mind plays tricks on you. You think to yourself, oh my God, I'm doing this conference for the first time. Are people going to show up? Are people going to be there? And, Royal Caribbean, who is the company, organization, the cruise organization that is doing the cruise with me. And when they call me and tell me, Keith, people are registering for your cruise conference. I'm like, what? This can't be real. But it is. And that's another factor of why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I should feel honored, entitled in a good way. Let me explain to you what I mean entitled. Entitlement, there are two spectrums to entitlement. There is one, an entitlement that is negative and narcissism. And then there's an entitlement of you deserve. You deserve. And that is an entitlement that insecure, lack of confidence people don't know anything about. When you get to a point in your life, you're going to know you deserve. When you get to a point in your life and you do the work on yourself, you're going to know, you're going to be able to sit and say, I have become who I need to be, so that I attract who and what I deserve and I desire. Let me say that again, because I try to say it with conviction, and I want you to do the same thing. I will become who I need to be so that I attract who and what I deserve and I desire. That part. Because I never thought that I could be so that I could receive what I deserve and what I desire. There were moments in my life where I had to look for that and sometimes fix people to be right for me, rather than fixing myself and attracting the right thing or the right person or the right place. I became a person that looked for a project rather than fix myself, because I didn't want to address my own issues. I tried to find relationships and friendships of people that needed to be fixed so that I could mold them to be right for Keith. But what I was doing was fixing them so that they had the option to walk away. I was fixing them for somebody else. And it took me till I was in my 50s to realize that was what it was. I was fixing people for other people when they weren't supposed to be with me anyway. Friends, relationships, so on and so forth. I was literally fixing people because I was not willing to fix myself. That's huge. So those are the things that we're going to be talking about. Those are the things that we're going to address. Those are the things that we're going to be doing here at the Step Up community. When this podcast is released, which will be on January the 1st, 2024, We will still have options for people to come to our conference. I want you to consider it. And if you're watching this podcast or you're listening to this podcast, reach out and say, hey, to my team, to me, say, look, I am interested in coming to your conference. I want to be a part of this. Only, let me say this, and let me be clear. If you want to come back and you want to be a part of our episodes and you want to subscribe to my podcast, if you want to follow us on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all of the major platforms, I want you to know something. I need you to be prepared to do the work. Don't come over here just to spectate. Come over here prepared to do the work. Come over here prepared to receive what it is that you deserve and what you desire. Get ready to do the work. Don't come and spectate and lurk. This is not for you. Over here, we're doing the work here in the Step Up community, on this podcast, on our social media platforms. This is what we're willing to do over here. And I hope that even if it's one, that one person will get something out of this. So yes, this is the first episode. It was just about me and you. This was the first episode of Step Up, of the relaunch. And when I tell you I'm just excited, I'm ecstatic to give you this opportunity. You might be riding in your car listening to this. You might be at work listening to this podcast episode. You might be on a plane. You might be looking on social media. And I want you to hear me talking to you personally, or see me talking to you personally. Welcome. 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 Get ready for the ride of your life. I'm ready to do the work. I hope you are too. This is your lifestyle influencer, Keith Harley. And what you're going to learn over here is how to make every day an experience through food, fashion, travel, motivation, inspiration, and decor. But most importantly, you're going to learn that your present situation is not your final destination. If you want to learn more about me and why I decided to do what I'm doing, go to Amazon and look up Step Up by Keith Harley. That's my book. Get my book. Learn about who I am and my history and where I've been from. And you'll understand why I'm sitting in this chair right now, sharing my life with you and what I've been through. Go to Amazon right now. Order your book. And after you order the book, I got a little journal for you. And a planner, a life-changing planner. All the tools that you need to continue the journey of exposing yourself to the Step Up community. Guys, thank you for joining me today on our first launch of the relaunch of Step Up with Keith Harley. I'll be seeing you. I'll be talking to you real soon. And just remember when you get off this, when you stop listening to this episode, that your present situation is not your final destination. Have a fantastic day. I'll see you on the next episode of Step Up. See you soon. This is Keith Harley, your lifestyle influencer.